Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being brilliantly informed. Today, we're taking a really close look at a part of the pharmaceutical world that's absolutely vital, but, often goes unseen. The global market for pharmaceutical granulators. Okay, let's unpack this. We're basically peering into the industrial heart of drug manufacturing. I mean, think about it. Every tablet you've ever taken, every capsule, well, they started out as raw powders. Our mission today is to get you really well versed on this significant, rapidly expanding sector, the one that transforms those powders into the consistent, effective medicines we all rely on. And we're drawing directly from the latest market report by Cognitive Market Research.
And just to set the stage properly, a pharmaceutical granulator isn't just some machine. It's really a foundational piece of equipment in making drugs. Imagine you've got a blend of the active drug ingredients and various excipients. Those are the inactive substances that help form the pill. They're often fine, inconsistent powders, difficult to handle. So the granulator's job is to bind these tiny particles together into larger, uniform granules. In this process, it's not just about making them easier to press into tablets or fill into capsules. It's actually critical for ensuring you get a consistent dosage, better flow properties, and ultimately the drug's stability and how well it dissolves in your body. It truly is a cornerstone for efficient, reliable drug manufacturing.
And cornerstone is the right word. We're talking about a market that's building up at an incredible pace. The report, well, it has some truly eye-opening figures. Globally, the market for these machines was valued at, get this, $3.85 billion back in 2021.
That's already substantial.
It is, but here's where it gets really dynamic.
Yeah.
By 2025, that figure is projected to jump to nearly $4.76 billion.
Wow.
And looking even further out, say to 2033, we expect it to hit an astounding $7.29 billion.
Okay, that's serious growth.
It really is. That represents a strong compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 5.465%. So that underscores this steady, powerful expansion. But with this kind of global momentum, what does the growth story look like when we actually zoom in on different parts of the world? It feels like a sort of global rebalancing act is taking place.
That's a perfect way to put it, because the growth isn't just big, it's uneven. And that regional breakdown, well, it tells a really compelling story about where pharma manufacturing is actually heading. Let's start our journey in North America. It's still a mature market, yes, but absolutely vital for granulators. In 2021, the regional market there was valued at a substantial $1.11 billion.
Okay.
It's projected to grow steadily, reaching around $1.37 billion by 2025, and then climbing to nearly $2 billion by 2033. So this represents a solid regional PGR of 4.86%. What these figures really suggest is a market driven more by continuous innovation, maybe modernization, rather than just explosive new capacity.
That makes sense. And within North America, the U.S. is, well, predictably still the dominant force, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
It accounted for over $909 million back in 2021. That's projected to hit $1.11 billion by 2025 and over $1.6 billion by 2033, with a strong 4.64% CAGR. So that consistent growth in the U.S. it probably reflects ongoing investment in, say, high-value drug production and maybe modernizing existing facilities. Perhaps that shift towards more advanced continuous manufacturing lines we hear about.
Could very well be integrating granulation directly into those lines.
Right. But what's really interesting, I think, is the acceleration we see in its neighbors. Look at Canada, for example. It shows a more robust CAG, 5.91%, growing from $142 million in 2021 to projected nearly $275 million by 2033.
That's a noticeable jump.
And Mexico, too. While starting smaller, around $60 million in 2021, it's projected to reach almost $119 million by 2033. That's a healthy 5.51% COGR. So yeah, the U.S. remains the anchor, but we're seeing faster relative investment in Canada and Mexico.
Exactly. And that faster growth, particularly in Canada and Mexico, it could well be driven by, say, increasing generic drug manufacturing, maybe some nearshoring trends from the U.S., or perhaps expanding regional pharmaceutical hubs that serve broader Latin American markets. They're investing in new capacity, upgrading older systems to meet that rising demand.
Absolutely. Okay, now let's shift our focus across the Atlantic. Europe. What story do the numbers tell us there?
Europe presents a fascinating mosaic of growth. The overall market was nearly $728 million in 2021. It's expected to climb to $894 million by 2025 and reach almost $1.32 billion by 2033. That gives it a regional CGR of 4.97%.
So pretty comparable to North America overall.
Overall, yes. But what's particularly striking here isn't just the size, but the really diverse performance across different countries. It reflects varying levels of R&D investment, different generic production capabilities, regulatory landscapes. It's complex.
And diverse is definitely the word. I mean, you have established markets like Germany and the UK showing solid, consistent growth. Germany moving from around $111 million to $190 million by 2033. That's a 4.35% CGR. And the UK from $89.5 million to $150 million, a 4.08% CAGR. But then you see more dynamic expansion in places like France. Projected to grow from $94.6 million to over $182 million. That's a notably stronger 5.75% CAGR.
Interesting.
And Italy is also robust, 5.36% CAGR. But this suggests maybe targeted investments, perhaps in specialized high-share granulators for complex ingredients or efficiency upgrades.
That sounds plausible. Investing in specific capabilities.
Yeah. On the other hand, countries like Spain, Sweden, Denmark, they're experiencing slower expansion. Denmark actually shows the slowest regional CAGR at just 2.68%.
Real mix, then.
But here's the real kicker, I think. The rest of Europe segment, the one that aggregates the smaller markets, it actually boasts the highest growth within the region, a 6.4% CAGR.
Get out, really.
Yeah. It surged from $174.6 million in 2021 to a projected over $357 million by 2033. That tells you there's this vibrant, decentralized activity happening in those smaller markets, often driven by local niche producers or expanding generic manufacturers. It's not just about the big players.
That's a crucial insight. It really highlights how investment isn't always just concentrated in the biggest economies. Sometimes it's that cumulative effect of many smaller, growing pharma ventures. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, well, Asia-Pacific is where we really see explosive momentum. It's become a truly dynamic powerhouse in the granulator market.
Right.
This region's market was already valued at an impressive $1.53 billion in 2021.
Wow. Biggest region by far, then.
By far. Projected to leap to over $1.9 billion by 2025, and then reach an astounding $3 billion by 2033. This gives Asia-Pacific a robust KGR of 5.84%, making it, yes, the largest and one of the fastest-growing regions.
And within that massive region, China certainly leads the charge, doesn't it? Growing from $445 million in 2021 to a projected $840 million by 2033. That's a solid 5.39% CAGR.
Still very strong.
Japan follows closely, heading towards nearly $588 million by 2033 with a very similar 5.4% CAGR. But India really shows robust expansion. It's actually leading the region in CAGR at 6.6%.
Yeah, India's growth is notable.
Projected to grow from about $225 million in 2021 to a significant $470 million by 2033. That's some serious growth. What do you think is driving India's particularly strong performance, especially given its role as a global pharma hub?
Well, India's trajectory is fascinating. That high KGR reflects its huge domestic demand, obviously, but also its major role as an exporter of generic drugs. Plus, significant government initiatives trying to boost local pharmaceutical production.
Makes sense.
So manufacturers there are rapidly adopting more advanced granulation techniques, things like fluid bed granulators for efficient drying and coating, and they're scaling up massively to meet both national and international needs. This isn't just about replacing old gear, it's about building new high-capacity facilities.
Right, building out the infrastructure.
Exactly. And you see strong growth elsewhere, too. Singapore at a 6.4% CAGR, and Southeast Asia as a whole with a 6.21% CAGR also really underscore this region's aggressive expansion.
It's clear these regions are building out their pharmaceutical independence. Now let's pivot to South America, another region that's showcasing, well, remarkable growth potential.
Absolutely. South America is another testament to this global rebalancing act we talked about. Its overall market for granulators was nearly $266 million in 2021. It's expanding to $334 million by 2025 and expected to hit almost $550 million by 2033.
And the CAGR there.
Impressive. 6.41%. That's notably higher than both North America and Europe, reflecting a real surge in local pharmaceutical production.
That is a significant growth rate. It indicates a clear push towards more self-sufficiency in drug manufacturing down there.
Brazil leads the region, right?
Yes, Brazil's market is growing from $81.5 million in 2021 to a projected $163.5 million by 2033. That's a 6.03% CAGR.
Okay, strong. But Argentina shows even stronger momentum based on these numbers, starting at $36.8 million in 2021 and forecast to reach over $79 million by 2033. That's an outstanding 6.93% CAGR.
Argentina is really picking up pace. It really indicates a rapidly developing pharmaceutical sector. probably driven by domestic demand, maybe government incentives to cut reliance on imported medicines.
Very likely. And again, look at the rest of South America segment. It truly expanded significantly. An impressive 6.75% CAGR, growing from $107 million in 2021 to nearly $229 million by 2033.
It really seems like the emerging markets are where the action is, building out that fundamental infrastructure.
These certainly are. And this pattern, this higher growth in the rest of categories, it's a consistent signal, isn't it? It suggests mid-sized and smaller countries are rapidly expanding their capabilities, often with, perhaps, tailored solutions like modular granulator designs that can scale up easily.
Good point. Scalability would be key.
And this trend continues as we look at the Middle East. Now, it's a market that, while perhaps not as explosive as some others, is still undergoing significant development. The Middle East segment stood at $150 million in 2021, growing to $180 million by 2025, and projected to reach nearly $248 million by 2033. The CJGR there is a respectable 4.07%.
Okay. And within the Middle East, I see diverse growth rates again, reflecting different national healthcare priorities, maybe. Saudi Arabia shows a solid 3.79% CAGR,
Steady, yeah.
but the UAE stands out with stronger growth, 5.2%, climbing from $14.6 million to over $26.6 million over that period.
The UAE has been investing heavily in becoming a regional hub.
Right, that could be it. Strategic investments in healthcare infrastructure, pushing to be a regional medical hub that requires state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities. Egypt also shows healthy expansion, 4.64% CAGR, indicating growing local demand.
Makes sense.
But, okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. If we're talking about global leaders in growth rate, we have to spotlight Africa.
Ah, yes, Africa.
This continent is showing absolutely explosive potential in the pharmaceutical granulator market. The overall regional market, okay, it was valued at a relatively smaller $57.7 million in 2021.
Starting from a lower base, yes.
But it's projected to rise dramatically to $79 million in 2025 and then surge to an incredible $169 million by 2033.
That's a huge jump percentage-wise.
It translates to a staggering CGR of nearly 10%, specifically 9.972%, making Africa the fastest-growing region globally, by quite a margin.
Wow. That rapid surge in Africa isn't just significant. It feels transformative. It strongly suggests a major, concerted build-out of pharmaceutical manufacturing capabilities across the continent.
Driven by need, presumably.
Absolutely. Driven by a desperate need for local drug production to address public health challenges and, crucially, reduce reliance on imports. Look at Nigeria, for instance, projected to grow from $11.2 million in 2021 to over $32 million by 2033. That's a 9.64% CGR.
Incredible.
South Africa also shows powerful growth, from $18.9 million to nearly $54 million, a 9.6% CAGR. And that rest of Africa segment, again, it demonstrates the strongest growth within the region, an astonishing 10.34% CAGR. More than tripling from $27.5 million in 2021 to $83.2 million by 2033.
So this isn't just about market size.
No, it's about a fundamental shift toward enhancing local pharmaceutical self-reliance and hopefully improving healthcare access for millions of people.
That's a profound observation. Okay, so pulling it all together, what does all this mean for us, for you listening? What we've seen today is, well, a clear picture of strong, consistent global growth in this crucial market.
Definitely.
It's clearly driven by the increasing universal need for efficient drug manufacturing processes. On one hand, you've got the steady, robust growth in developed regions like North America and Europe. They remain critical players, often focused on high-value drugs, technological upgrades.
The established hubs.
Right. But on the other hand, you see this truly explosive momentum in emerging economies, particularly across Asia-Pacific, South America, and most strikingly, Africa.
And if we connect all those dots, these regional market dynamics, they really reflect profound underlying shifts in global healthcare investment. It's about the expansion of pharma production capabilities into new territories.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it's about increasing access to essential medicines where demand is just surging. It's not simply about more machines being sold. It's really about these regions building the essential infrastructure to produce drugs locally, efficiently, and at scale, addressing their own growing healthcare needs, striving for greater pharmaceutical autonomy. It's a compelling story of global self-reliance on the rise, fundamentally changing the drug supply chain.
That truly reframes how we should look at these numbers, doesn't it? So considering these incredible growth rates in emerging markets, especially that near 10% in Africa, What further innovations might we expect in pharmaceutical granulator technology itself? To keep up with such a rapidly evolving, diverse global demand for efficient drug production, it's clear that, one size fits all won't cut it anymore.
Hmm. That raises a really important question for you, the listener, to ponder. Think about how technology typically adapts to specific regional needs and challenges. Could this drive a greater emphasis on, say, those modular granulator designs we mentioned? Things that are easier to deploy and scale in diverse environments.
That seems likely.
Or perhaps more sophisticated real-time process analytics, more automation, to ensure quality control in these rapidly expanding facilities where maybe skilled labor is still developing. We might also see innovations in maybe energy-efficient dry granulation techniques which need less power and water. That's a critical factor in regions with developing infrastructure.
Good point.
The future here isn't just about market size growing. It's about how innovation in these foundational manufacturing processes will actually shape global pharmaceutical accessibility and equity for years and years to come.